Mummy, they're clapping. Where's Mum? Can you hear them?
Yeah, that's what neighbours said. Oh look, even the dogs are clapping.
Where's it? Oh, they're all clapping. Yeah. Come here, Mummy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on, Louie. Just warming the car up. It's just gone 7 in the morning, and we are getting ready to take Mummy to work.
What is it? We're trying to. We're currently playing chess.
For the type of treatment you've had, that review can be done over the phone with the...
Okay, Richie, I've just taken her to work. Business as usual, it looks like. And now it's back to the house to sort out the stuff there. Well, it's just been reported in the last half hour that our Prime Minister Boris Johnson has now tested positive for the virus, and he will obviously have to now self-isolate and work from behind screens, doors, and carry on doing the job. He's already put out a message in terms of the process, what he's going to be doing, how he's going to be working. But I would suspect it'll mean that other members of the cabinet as well that have been in close proximity to him that may also find themselves having to self-isolate as well. But I think we're all getting used to the fact now we are working from these positions of isolation to get on with our jobs where we can isolate ourselves from other people and get on and do it. Something that keeps on coming up in the social media on various networks is these conspiracy angles on the virus, and how it's been a deliberate attack on Western civilization, Western society, to shut down markets, damage financial situations and institutions, and basically it's been done deliberately, and they're then putting a lot of logic into the reasons why, like where it started in China, in Wuhan. How come it didn't spread to Shanghai and Beijing as a example? And why hasn't Russia got it as bad? And why hasn't North Korea got? I've been looking at all these things. Well, first of all, the virus has gone to all those cities and countries. Some areas it's had more of an impact than others. But just from my view on Shanghai, which is a place I know very well, having spent, when I was out in the Middle East, I spent quite a lot of time living in Shanghai on assignment. So I know Shanghai and the Pudong district in particular very, very well. And the Chinese, and one's got to understand how Chinese govern in their country, in their world, and how things happen. They do. There's no debates. There's no parliaments debating and can we and can't we with oppositions. When the Chinese are going to shut down a city, they shut down a city, and it happens, and everyone is behind closed doors very quickly and can't come out. That's how it works in China. Speaking from experience, the Shanghai police have a very tough record when it comes to dealing with situations, emergency situations, and they there's no grey areas there. You know, when they're going to shut something down, they shut it down. You know, so a 27 million city will shut down very, very easily, very quickly, and nothing will go in and nothing will go out. And that's fact. And that's why it didn't spread into Shanghai the same way it went through Wuhan. And Wuhan it went through before they really had a handle on it, but they didn't. Again, they shut it down there very quickly as well. Beijing was way out of up to the north, and it was also put on shutdown and dealt with it as well. But if you look at where Wuhan is, it's very much, it's sort of central to central China. It's between Shanghai and Chongqing. Now, all these areas I know very, very well, and the populations are vast. Huge, densely populated cities in these regions. I mean, Chongqing's city as well. I'm surprised, if anything, I'd have said, why didn't it spread into Chongqing, which is even more spread in terms of thick, dense populations. And it has gone in there, but it hasn't gone in as effectively, because by the time it happened in Wuhan, every other city in China had taken the opportunity to shut their locations down as quickly as possible. And that's what stopped the spread from going into those countries, into those cities in such a fast way. And that's why it's got into places in Italy, in Milan, and into London, Paris, and Barcelona. It's got in because they didn't take the same drastic action as Shanghai did in those early stages. Now, culturally, and I've got to put it down to the culture and the way these countries operate, is why they reacted as quickly as they did, and that is why the situation looks like it hasn't been as badly affected as some cities that are now developed this in Europe. But because of the European culture and the way of life in Europe, and the fact that we don't give governments the right to just climb in and do things just like that, it's why we have this situation. Now, I still believe that we have taken, our government have taken the right action at the right time to deal with this crisis. Yes, it's easy to say in hindsight, well, if we took Chinese measures back in early February, we wouldn't have the coronavirus here at all to any great level. But that would have meant, back in February, shutting down our borders, shutting down our main cities, stop our flying and doing it. And if we'd have done it then, everyone would have been up in arms. Well, what are we doing? We're killing the economy too. So, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? But as we stand, I do think we are going in the right direction as far as managing this process goes. Now, I think further pressure on lockdown will come into play. I don't think we've quite got to that yet. I think it's going to happen in London. I would think by this weekend it'll happen in London, and I would think that other parts of the country are going to go into a more determined lockdown. Probably some of the bigger cities like Birmingham, Manchester, possibly Glasgow, Edinburgh, these sort of places, as it progresses, to really stop any form of travel in and out of certain locations. I think also people are not taking it. Still, a lot of people are not taking it seriously. They still regard the economy as the most key factor at this particular moment in time. It is going to be the most key factor in the coming months, there's no doubt about that. But at the moment, we have got to halt this spread, and protect our NHS so it doesn't have a major influx of sick people all in one go, all within a short space of time. Spreading those sick people out over a longer period of time, going into the hospital, gives them more chance, to get the right kind of treatment, and gives obviously more time for doctors to and nurses to treat people and deal with it with more effect, so that there's not going to be the same death rate. Look, it's tough. It's going to be very tough. But I think it's the scaremongering and the blame game and who's responsible, I think, is far too early. When I see some of these reports and hear some of these people talking about, this is all someone's fault, or this is all this country's dealings, or this is all, far too early to be thinking along those lines. Even in America, which I do have concerns with, because in America I don't see a clear set of announcements coming out. I mean, Donald, in his normal style, is sort of looking forward to Easter and things are going to be better. Yet I see things in certain parts of the country, in California and in New York now. I mean, New York is in a New York could become the epicenter for this disease worldwide. The way it looks, it could be going. So there's a lot of mixed messages there that are very strange and must be very confusing for some people in living out there. But I think being close with the NHS and our infrastructure, the infrastructure of our health care system, which has been criticised for years as not being able to manage the cut finger very well, or the I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised how they step up to the challenge of this and dealing with it. And I think it's going to be hard. It's going to be a tough thing to deal with, but I think our NHS is going to do well. That's my opinion. Look, it's too early to say, of course. We're not going to know for a while yet. But when all this is going on, we've got people out there also looking for that vaccine. We've got people working on various tests. I mean, the arguments going backwards and forwards on the equipment. There's a lot of news scaremongering going on, which there could be elements that need fixing in certain parts of the system at the moment, which they're focusing on. But I've got to say, there's a lot going on. Priorities are now being taken up. There are tasks being done which are critical tasks. The emergency overflows, for example. The people in the right locations at the right time. The equipment in the right place at the right time. The process of managing the tsunami, as some people want to describe it, as it comes across us, and we've just got to follow the guide and stay at home, and get through this process as per what we've been asked to do. Talk to you again soon. Cheers.